Welcome to Brand Lover, honest, real, and lively conversations for flourishing entrepreneurs and budding business owners on a mission to cultivate a heartfelt brand that connects with their purpose-driven mission. My hope is that you walk away feeling inspired and refreshed with a weekly takeaway in your back pocket that you can apply to your life or business. Welcome to our final episode in our 4-part brand color series. Whilst this topic may seem irrelevant or even pie in the sky, maybe it just feels a little bit all too hard right now, especially if you are in the early couple of years of setting up your brand and your business. I'm here to tell you that if you are building a brand with longevity in mind, which you should if you are on a mission to cultivate a successful brand, then pause right now and go grab a pen because you're going to want to write this down. So far, we've explored how not to and how to choose your brand colors. We've also touched on color psychology and how that impacts memorability, emotional connection, and brand recognition. But now I'm going to enlighten you on the actual mechanics of your color palette and share with you the 4 absolute must-have color formats you need in your toolkit. So first of all, let's explore why it's so important to use the correct color format and breakdown for the appropriate application. The Reader's Digest is this. Colors on screen appear much more saturated and vibrant than when they're printed. You'll find if you use an RGB breakdown for your printing, the colors will automatically be converted to CMYK for the printing process, and you will lose all control of how they do that. But by using the correct, consistent color value for your printing, you will retain consistency across all of your applications, whether they are on screen or in print. Now, if that all sounded gobbledygook to you, don't worry, keep listening. I'm going to share the exact breakdowns that you need. Now, you've all heard of Pantone, right? But do you have Pantone color formats in your brand color palette, in your guidelines? If not, that's a really, really big red flag. Pantone provides a universal language of color that enables color critical decisions through every stage of your workflow. Pantone allows us to create consistency across all of your marketing applications, whether they are on screen or in print. A successful brand presents not only professionally, but consistently, and this includes color. Pantone provides designers the ability to choose colors efficiently and provides the most accurate conversions for each of your color breakdowns. And these are the breakdowns that you need in your toolkit. So I've already just mentioned it, I gave it away. You definitely need Pantone formats in your brand guidelines. Sometimes they are known as PMS, which stands for Pantone Matching System. So Pantone is what you are going to be requested for if you are looking at getting some embroidery done, for example, for staff uniforms or merchandise, screen printing for same sort of thing. Signage for a shop front or a pop-up store or stall or a market, and car wraps more specifically. If you are an online or digital business, a car wrap is like the bee's knees when it comes to mobile advertising, and also custom print jobs. So Pantone inks are specific pre-mixed inks that can be used that are much more accurate and give off a much, I guess, a brighter version of your color. Some colors don't print very well with inks that are actually layered or mixed on the page, on the paper, on the stock, we call it. So some of those colors might include like some greens, for example, and orange. Orange is particularly tricky. So Pantone, having the exact Pantone code allows you to print more accurate representation. So the next color breakdown you need is CMYK. Cyan, magenta, yellow, black. K represents black. This is used for all printed material, all of your stationery, all of your advertising. If you are advertising in magazines or like a local, like the local rag, you are going to need CMYK. Even for your business cards, for your flyers, everything should be printed from the accurate codes of your color palette in CMYK. RGB is for on-screen applications only, such as desktop publishing, Word documents, PowerPoint, presentations, Canva, all those sorts of things. And finally, you will need the hex code, which is basically just the RGB breakdown of the color format in a coded form. Hex codes were traditionally created for website coding. So there you have it. You need Pantone, CMYK, RGB, and hex codes. And can I just say, sadly, it is incredibly common for self-taught designers to provide their clients with only an RGB or a hex version of their brand colors. And whilst providing a CMYK format is better, to include the Pantone code will give you universal control over your brand color palette, ensuring consistency through all of your printing and online applications. So what you'll find if you don't have your brand colors predetermined in all of these formats is that if you take your color palette to a sign writer, for example, he or she will match the code with a Pantone swatch. And you may think that's fine, like they're doing it for me. But when you might want to get some t-shirts or canvas bags screen printed for a trade show or something, then, what if the company that you're using for those matches the color to a different Pantone code, and all of a sudden your signage is a different color to your canvas bags? You might not think this is such a big deal, but your brand will be, I guarantee your brand will be perceived as much more professional if all of your colors are as consistent as possible. Thank you so much for joining me for this 4-part series on choosing your brand colors. If you have missed any of the episodes, all 4 are now live on my website or wherever you listen to podcasts. You can subscribe on Apple or Spotify or Google Podcasts, and make sure that you do it right now wherever you're listening so that you receive all of my best branding tips and conversations with inspiring brand builders. I just wanted to leave you with one takeaway. And I have reiterated this over and over again throughout this series. But the most important thing to remember is that your brand foundation and strategy is the key to branding success, whether that be through choosing your colors or your logo or creating your website or simply, connecting with your audience, because the answers to your questions are always found in the core branding process, and your colors, logos, and how you're communicating with your people are the outcome. They're the solution, not the question. So if you loved this series, please come and say hi to me on Instagram and let me know if you have any questions about choosing aligned brand colors. You can find me at Rachel_Writer_brand mentor. And if you'd like a cheats guide to choosing your brand colors based on color psychology, as per our last episode, go ahead and grab your free brand color guide from my website, or just tap the link below in the show notes. Thanks again, and I'll see you next week. Thank you so much for listening. If you loved this week's episode of Brand Lover, take a screenshot of wherever you're listening and share your biggest takeaway on Instagram or Facebook, and don't forget to tag me. I'd love to give you a shout out and thank you personally. Also, feel free to subscribe and leave a review to help the Brand Lover podcast reach more heart-aligned entrepreneurs just like yourself. Thanks again, and I'll see you next week.